Hello to everyone viewing another The Planet Mask YouTube video. I'm really excited to be able to talk to Erial Smith of Erial's college mission. And this was a conversation that originally popped up. We were having a conversation after I reached out through just a local DFW blog that I saw her on. And, was really excited to talk about our organization that's ensuring that high school seniors have the necessities to make their first semester of college a success, whether it's through advice or raw materials or just any type of items that they might need going to their first college semester. So honestly, wanted to thank you again, Erial, for, taking out the time today to, not just be able to talk about the founding of this organization, but kind of what you've been learning in your own experiences with college and just the founding of this organization.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to jump in and just talk about the cause and all that we've done in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I wanted to kind of first get into the idea of before the idea of this organization even popped up. What was your own educational background in kind of your last senior year in high school? Were you really well prepared when it came to the idea of universities or college prospects?
Yeah, definitely, man. It was a while ago, because now with it being 2022, it was now 6 years ago. It might seem like a short amount of time, but it's definitely been a while. As far as my educational background, I graduated from Duncanville High School. I went on and got my bachelor's from Lamar University, and I'm currently obtaining my master's degree from University of Texas at Dallas. So just thinking about Duncanville High School and being there and being my senior year of high school, I was very prepared. At first, I wasn't. I was also thinking about the military, but at the time, I wasn't sure if I wanted to get into it. With most of my family being military, but I decided just to go a different route and decided to go ahead and join a university. I do have a twin, and actually we were arguing our last semester of high school. So we were going to attend college together, both go to Texas Women University, but I decided to go to the furthest place on my application list as far as the places that I got accepted into, and that happened to be Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas. So that's how I ended up in Beaumont. But as far as necessities, I was prepared. With me having a single mother, she rallied around us, and our family rallied around us, and we had a trunk party, a graduation party, and they donated everything we needed to finish out our last semester of high school, going into our first semester of college.
And when you kind of said the idea of family members, with a lot of them coming into military backgrounds, were you a first generation college student, or did other people in your family members go to college, or what was that like?
I would say for my immediate family, my mother and father, I was a first generation, and just counting on my hand, from my mother and father's side, it was only about 3 individuals that went to college. So I definitely just held on tight to those people just throughout my first 2 years. I was like, hey, how do I apply for financial aid, or what does that look like? And I definitely utilized the resources throughout high school, which was, I forgot what they called it. When you're basically you're a counselor, like a college counselor, a college advisor, in high school. So I just rallied around him, and he made sure that I had the tools just to be successful going into my first semester.
And I guess with that type of mentorship, and you kind of were talking about going into a college that was the furthest on your list as far as geographically, when you kind of saw that, I was kind of wondering, I guess going into that area, was it a huge, difference when it came to the type of people you were originally hanging out with in high school, or when it came to maybe your peers in college?
I would say definitely geographically it was different. And as far as peers, it was definitely different. When you're attending a university and there's just like a array of demographics or people that are there, you definitely get to get that exposure of different people. And I know when I do job interviews or just going into different environments where I'm going to learn, they always ask me how do I deal with diversity, and I just feel like to this day I'm continuously dealing with diversity. So now I'm much more open to engage with just all different types of people, and it just makes me excited that I got to take that away from my college experience.
Mm-hmm. So kind of going into kind of that college experience and, there being some differences, was there, I guess, any first shocks that like came with your first semester in college that maybe you weren't expecting or maybe like family members didn't tell you about?
Mm-hmm. I would definitely say, of course, people can warn you and make sure they fully prepare you, but just going into a new experience, it was just a complete culture shock. Actually, my first roommate was of a different background, like different demographics. She was actually Caucasian. So of course, being in an African American household, I didn't live with one or roommate or bunk with anyone that was of a different race. So it was just a culture shock, just completely. I remember having hair down my back, and then I actually had braids in at the time, and she saw me take down those braids, and she thought I was like cutting out my actual own hair. So it was just an experience. Definitely nothing actually prepared me for like what I was the journey I was going to embark on. So, like of course thinking like, hey, watch out for this, but I would say like my first semester was like one of the wildest. And I actually cried every day for like the first month because I'd never been away from my twin for more than 3 days. So I actually was like mourning her. So I was just really emotional trying to get through that. But once like I got accustomed to it, I was like, oh, okay, I'll see you when I see you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So like the idea, I can imagine like a traumatic situation, like in your, that first month of college where you're crying. I was kind of wondering, was that like the pivot when it came to, I guess, the inspiration by the organization, or did you like notice like other college students like dealing with the same type of thing?
I would say, so I actually started Erial's College Mission in 2017. So now this was going into my second year of being in college, and I now had a different roommate. I had an Hispanic roommate, and actually, we were just talking, like, hey, how's class, how's work, and the thing that she told me, she was like, dang, like, books are so expensive, I'm having to choose between, like, toothpaste and buying a textbook. And so that moment was mind-blowing because I was like, what? Like, of course, I didn't grow up in a big fancy house, or I didn't have, all of my needs were covered by my parents, so I was okay. I wouldn't say we were we were middle class surviving, so we were okay. But just realizing, just having that eye-opening moment to where people are actually having to choose between necessities and actually getting, the tools they need for their courses to be successful, which is mind-boggling. So within that moment, and then I actually talked to a relative, and then maybe like a month later, we were out in the streets of Beaumont and then bringing it back to Dallas, and it just expanded from there.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really kind of in that situation or that conversation of, I guess, like not being able to like afford books or other necessities. Was that, I guess, with that being kind of the inspiration behind the idea, so what was like the first move when it came to the organization in 2017? Was like the main interest like on trying to find books that like college students could go, or what was like the first project related to this organization?
I would say now with it being 2017, with me now being in college for like a year, about a year and a semester, then I was like, I wasn't worried about textbooks, because even to this day, I'm like winging it with textbooks, only because they're so expensive. And so I'm always trying to say like, hey, let me text someone and pay them $10 so they can give me a PDF copy of the book. Just always trying to find a way to mitigate or get out of that cost, because it can be so expensive for the textbooks. So my main concern was the toiletries, or just the school supplies, or just the necessities that people needed. So I got to that pinpoint to where I just looked around my dorm, and I was like, what are items that you can't live without? what are some everyday items that you feel like you would pick up throughout the day, as you're getting ready for school, or as you're just walking around, or things that you need to take to your class day to day. So that's what made me come up with those 15 items, 15 almost 20 items that you needed for college or everyday life.
Yeah, I didn't know, I guess, like with the kind of the idea of the toiletries. So what was like, what was the first event related to the toiletries, and, was it, I guess, a success as far as like, bringing people out as when it came to donating?
I would honestly say as far as like how I got it started, I talked to my aunt. She's actually the one that I call about all of my business ideas or anything that I want to do. Her name is Lisa. Like, I always tell her, I'm like, you're the background, like, you're the backbone just to make sure I'm successful. So I called her and I was like, hey, I think I want to start something. At first, it was going to be an organization on campus, but I wanted to continue it after I finished undergrad. Because, sometimes people start organizations and they fall off once the founder of that organization goes away. So I was like, okay, I want this to be near and dear, or it's going to be near and dear to my heart. So I want to continue this after I graduate with my bachelor's. And so we started the organization. As far as the first event, Erial's College Mission, I believe I had it in Dallas. Man, so you're gonna make me look on my website and see when our first event was. But as far as donating in my family, no, they were all on board. Actually, right around August, like the first week of August, or maybe 2 or 3 weeks before, my family's like hitting me up and like, hey, when is the next event? What do you need? How many students do you have signed up? So I would say the first couple of years, it was definitely about 5 students that showed up. But even though it was a small number, or it's still considered to be a small number, I always say if I'm able to help one person, then that just makes my heart explode. So I'm always excited to see it.
Mm-hmm. No, and like I guess the importance of like taking it from a college chapter, and you said you wanted kind of longevity with it and be able to take it past college. Like, with the idea behind that, were you guys able to, I guess, get like a nonprofit status behind it? And was the nonprofit like the type of organization you want it to be, or did you want it to be a business, or how is that playing out?
I would say when I definitely started the organization, I was only wanting to do the front end of the work, and I would so to say is like me being on the front lines, recruiting those students, helping out. So as far as the business end, I didn't really get into that until because I believe you have about 2 or 3 years to actually incorporate a business, or to decide if you want it to be 501c3, like a standing nonprofit organization. So I was on year 2, and I was like, what do I want to do with this? Because I was still trying. I finally figured it out now, but it took me a good 4 years to juggle between like personal life and my nonprofit, and just being able to withstand or have them both at the same time. Yeah, we went on to obtain our 501c3 status maybe about 2 years ago now, because I did want this to be longevity. I wanted it to continue within my family and have family and also business partners on the business, in the board, making sure that we had the longevity of the organization. But yeah.
And like, I guess with bringing your family in as like board members and finally receiving that 501c3 status, did that, I guess, like help make it easier to get like businesses to partner with you guys? Or, is there any like important like community members that you want to give a shout out to as far as businesses that maybe helped you guys out or, worked with you?
I would say there's only one person as far as relatives that's on the board, and that's just my twin sister. Now it did get kind of sticky when you're working with family, because you're just like, oh my god, it's like, you want to talk about this upcoming event, but it's like, oh my god, we gotta do these things for Erial's College Mission, just to make sure we're successful during that event, and not worry about a friend's birthday party that's coming up, so it got kind of sticky. So when I was making that final decision of like who I wanted on the board, I was like, okay, all right, let's talk about it. I want this to be professional, and just trying to mix personal and business. But it worked out. And as far as people that's on the board and people that's helped us out, we reached out to Home Depot has helped us out. B1 Foundation has helped us out. One of my board members, Shanice Williams, She's tremendous with helping me out. So it's just people all over the community, as far as, just helping and making sure they see the organization grow in South Oak Cliff, just all of the Dallas-Fort Worth or the inner city communities and schools. Like, they have definitely just hung on to us and just make sure that, they see us grow, and also we pour into their students at the same time.
Mm-hmm. No, that's that's really cool on some of those kind of partnerships. And you're kind of mentioning some of like the local organizations and like school districts and everything like that. I was kind of wondering on I remember seeing something about like you doing like quite a few, I think, local school projects and local school really just kind of conversations and everything like that. I was kind of wondering on, how that started out, and, are you still working with schools like on that level?
Yeah, definitely. As far, I pulled back a little bit, as far as, because I was trying to really get my graduate experience going, and trying to, because I took a semester off in between. I really wanted to do a year, but I got afraid that I wouldn't go back. So I was just like, okay, let me just take a semester off, and then let me also, just get myself acclimated with what's going on and the expectations of what's needed, for a graduate student. But as far as those partnerships and how we got started within the organization, it's really crazy, because we only had like, when I first started and I brought it back to Dallas, I only had a name and a logo. And students were like asking me questions as far as like business plan questions, and I didn't even have a good business plan even wrote out. And it was just me and my sister. One of the schools being linked. I can't even think of some of the names, but I would just use South Oak Cliff. I know they were one of the schools, and the students were asking me, and they was like, "Hey, so how are you going to handle this? How are you going to handle this? And how is it going to go about?" And I'm like, you know what? I haven't even thought about that. So, I would go and I would tell the kids about this idea, and I would call my aunt Lisa and speak with my sister. And like, hey, the students brought this up as an idea. How do you guys want to move forward with that? And then as far as staying connected within the community, it's just, just rubbing shoulders or reaching out to people, or people seeing what I'm doing in the community, and they're like, hey, I want to be a part. So they're just easily reaching out to me, and vice versa.
When you're kind of bringing up like, some of the questions that these students in Oak Cliff and other areas were kind of bringing up, I was kind of wondering on like, what was like the main, I guess, what are the top questions when it's like, when it comes to the college experience? Like, what were like the most things that they were curious about when it came to that transition from high school to college?
They were just honestly asking me about the everyday life, like what that would look like. They would sometimes ask me questions about Greek life. I'm not a part of any Greek organizations, but usually when we have an event like a Erial College Mission annual event, there's usually a guest speaker. And the past 2 times, the people have now been a part of Greek life, so they've been able to answer questions about that. Joining organizations or how to be social, because I know my first 2 years, honestly, I was in my dorm, and it wasn't until I did a Miss Black and Gold pageant with the fraternity Alpha Phi Alpha. And so once I did that pageant, like, my social life just blew up. Like, I was able to be more confident and be more social, because at first I think I was going through like an identity crisis without my twin. Like, I didn't realize, or I didn't know who I was without her. And she's really, really social, and I'm just like an introvert, and I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that for the first 17 years of my life. And so now I'm like on my own, and I'm like, why am I always in my room? Why am I not interested in talking to people? But now I'm just like, I'm Erial, I know who I am, and it actually took me going to college to realize that, and then to actually grow as a person.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really cool to hear on, college being such a positive experience with you, on being able to kind of collaborate with other people and be able to publicly speak in front of large groups. I was kind of wondering on, with that topic, like, did that help you in any type of, like, I guess, fundraiser events when it came to this organization? Because I remembered seeing on the website, like, what was, like, the most, like, successful events for Erial's college mission when it came to, I guess, like, bringing in community members or fundraising?
I would say one of my most successful events, it would actually be one of, I believe we only did one car wash so far. Just one. And we actually did that in Oak Cliff, because I always say, oh, it's so crazy. I'm going to say it. I was going to say it. But I told my family, it was like, the hood keeps you paid. So I was like, let's go back into the community. Let's go back into the community that I serve, and let's fundraise and let's help out. You know, let's be in the community of where we're serving. So it was amazing. Like, all of my family came out, and they're like, the next year when it was coming around for like the next car wash, they had asked me to do it, and it was 2020, you know, at the height of COVID. And I was like, I'm kind of scared. No, I don't want to do it. So I actually didn't do another car wash fundraiser. But at the time, like, it was amazing. It was fun. You know, there's like pictures all over the social media. There's family like posting about it. And it was one of our most successful fundraisers. And it just made my heart smile just to know that where people, you know, what they're seeing, what we're doing, and then they're also like make sure their friends come out and support. And even when we do fundraisers now, like, people, if they're unable to support, they make sure that they have someone personal to them that they just have come out and support the organization as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's really cool on like kind of Oak Cliff being such a, I guess, like a important area that's helped you guys like get highly viewed on social media and really just kind of help out with the fundraising. Really to just kind of like wrap up the episode, I honestly just wanted to ask about, you know, if there's any upcoming projects that you're excited about when it comes to Erial's college mission, you know, and is there any upcoming, I know you guys did like quite a few like scholarships in the past to help out, you know, high school students, you know, are you guys continue to do that this year?
Yeah, definitely. I was maybe thinking about a biannually thing, as far as Erial's college mission, the annual events. But I haven't quite figured that out yet. So we're just sticking to the annual events, and they're always the first Saturday of August. So we are getting ready to ramp that up and, you know, promote that. Usually this is now the second semester. What is this? This is spring semester, right? This is spring. Okay, yeah. So actually, right about now, I'm gonna start planning and getting ready for Erial's college mission. We're definitely gonna be giving out as far as more money with the scholarships, because this past year we were able to give away $500 and $1,000. So I want to be able to give away more money, electronics, maybe like a laptop, or, you know, something to help out the students, or another TV. Just anything like that. So just stay on the lookout as far as on our social media platforms when we get ready to start advertising and promoting for the next annual event and giving away the scholarship as well.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Well, I'm, you know, definitely excited about you guys turning kind of the annual to biannual events, as well as like the expansion of some of these scholarships and just any events that you guys have in Oak Cliff or just any other areas. Now, I wanted to honestly thank you again, Erial, for coming on the YouTube channel to not just be able to kind of expand on the organization, but honestly just kind of drive, you know, what you've kind of learned in your own experiences in college and taking this organization, you know, from college into a nonprofit status to help out people that, you know, had your kind of previous experience on, you know, kind of the troubles of that high school to college transition. So, no, just, I mean, honestly, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me. I'm super excited to do my first podcast, and I'm definitely going to text all my family and friends like, hey guys, we did a podcast today.